And now turning to China. Chinese workers are seen fleeing Apple's largest factory in China. They're reportedly trying to avoid severe zero-COVID restrictions there. The factory Foxconn saw a COVID outbreak previously and was operating with strict COVID curbs. The factory is located in Zhengzhou City in the central Chinese province of Henan. Videos of Foxconn workers escaping have made their way online. One video appears to show doves of workers fleeing on foot from the factory. One of the workers said that the zero-COVID measures there included doing endless PCR tests. And whenever a positive or suspected case was found at the production line, the person will be taken away. China typically isolates vast numbers of people considered close or even potential contacts of an infected person. Disruptions from China's zero-COVID policies to commerce and industry have widened in October as cases escalated. Apart from the Foxconn lockdown, the Shanghai Disney Resort was shut down on Monday with visitors still inside. The Shanghai government says the park was barring people from entering or exiting. All visitors inside are directed to stay until they get a negative test for the virus. This is the fourth time the park has been closed since January 2020. And the joint venture that makes Jeeps in China will file for bankruptcy, Stellantis and Guangzhou Automobile Group said today. The announcement comes after Stellantis' surprise decision in July to end the venture with the Chinese automaker. The Stellantis CEO at the time blamed growing political influence in doing business with partners in China. Sales in China have been in sharp decline for the past 4 years. They plunged 50% in 2021 from the previous year. And for 2022, the joint venture has sold fewer than 2,000 vehicles, and in May, it reportedly sold only one. And here joining us live to talk about foreign companies doing business in China is Dan Harris. He's an international attorney with law firm Harris Bricken. He's regarded as a leading authority on legal matters related to doing business in emerging markets. Dan, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Don. Happy to be here.
Now, Stellantis Jeep joint venture in China filed for bankruptcy. The CEO blamed political influence. And this is what I wanted to ask you, Dan. Is the political environment in China, is it a concern for foreign or American companies that have business there?
Yes, it is, but it is not the chief concern. It's funny, you talked about Chinese workers fleeing factories. American companies are fleeing Chinese factories for a lot of reasons, including, I mean, you mentioned political issues. The political issues are not the big issue for the typical American company that's doing business in or with China. The big issues for them are COVID and Taiwan.
And how is COVID affecting business there?
Well, again, I hate to come back to the workers fleeing factories, but if you've got workers fleeing factories or workers unable to go to work at factories because of COVID, you've got American companies who are either not getting their products or are at huge risk of not getting their products. And it's really been harmful for certain American companies. It's been kind of random. We have some clients who insist that it's not a problem because it hasn't been a problem for them so far. But then we have other clients who literally haven't gotten any product for 3 or 4 months, and they're in serious straits because of it. And the reason they haven't gotten product is because of COVID.
Do you have a feeling of possibly when this policy will end, if ever?
Yeah, my feeling is it'll never end. And I've been saying that. I wrote a piece on this back in December 2019, telling to people that Omicron is coming to China, you need to buckle up. And it angered a lot of people because I basically said that China is not going to be able to conquer Omicron, and it's not going to change its zero COVID policy. I think that after the 20th Congress, anyone who believes that China is going to favor the economy over its control over its people they're going to be wrong, just like they've been wrong all year. China likes its zero COVID policy for many reasons, and there is not a single piece of evidence indicating that it plans to move away from it.
And on that point, you mentioned the 20th Congress. I know Xi Jinping got a third term there, and this has investors nervous. How do your clients that do business in China feel about this?
Not good. Most of our clients were not feeling good about China before the Congress, but after that, it's really hammered at home. And many of my friends who are expats in China have described the situation there as gloomy, even though what happened at the 20th Congress was not a surprise. The fact that it did happen and happened as strongly as it did has really thrown people for a loop. My wife asked me why people are so in shock at what happened at the 20th Congress when they knew it was coming. And I said it would be like your favorite team playing a team and you knew they were going to lose, and then they lost by 50 points. It was worse than what anybody could have imagined. Basically, the party Congress said the economy doesn't matter much. What matters is security.
And is this why foreign companies are eager to leave China? What is the danger right now?
Well, the danger is COVID. The danger is not getting your product. The danger is China does something with Taiwan, either starts a war or starts a blockade. People have argued with me which it's going to be. My response always is, no matter what it is, it's going to be a huge deal for anyone who gets their product from China. Look at what's happened with Russia. There will be massive sanctions. And our clients realize that, and they're worried that COVID may be cutting 30% of their product right now. Taiwan could cut back 100%. And companies cannot survive that. So they're scrambling. What I always tell people is every single one of our clients that has their products made in China for somewhere else wishes they did not have their products made in China. And then people say, well, why don't they leave? And that's a much more complicated question.
Do you feel, is there any possibility their factories might be nationalized or state-owned, confiscated by the Chinese regime?
No. There's always some chance. I don't see that happening. China doesn't need to nationalize its factories. They've got them the businesses in China are so under the thumb of the CCP right now, it doesn't matter who owns them. The CCP controls them. And that's not really the issue, meaning the CCP is not concerned about a factory in Shenzhen making tennis shoes. And even if they were concerned and seized that factory, they would probably still keep making tennis shoes and shipping them when they could. The big issues are Taiwan and COVID.
Just one last thing, Dan, and I have 30 seconds. What would your recommendation be for an American business right now that's thinking about going to China?
Well, American businesses are not thinking about going to China right now. Our law firm used to set up 5 to 10 companies in China a year. I'm not sure we've set up any in the last 3 years. So my advice would be to those who are already in China, and that is do whatever you can to get out, or if you can't get out, to lighten your footprint in China.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan Harris. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.